Well, I set out from my location with no direction or destination, a permanent vacation with not a single friend in sight. The conductor punched my ticket. He said, son, you better listen. Don't get caught up in reminiscing. You wind up going missing. So I keep rolling on, rolling on, rolling till the break of day. I keep rolling on, rolling on, I'll be on my way. I keep rolling on, rolling on, rolling till the break of day. I keep rolling on, rolling on, I'll be on my way. Like an ancient desert drifter, seeking hidden wisdom in the sun and in the scripture. I have found out what I was, and so I keep rolling on, rolling on, rolling till the break of day. I keep rolling on, rolling on, I'll be on my way. I keep rolling on, rolling on, rolling till the break of day. I keep rolling on, I'll be on my way. Rolling on, I'll be on my way.
Welcome everyone. I got a new camera. Actually, I had this camera. You guys, I had the Instapro 360. Yes, my wife's name is Jennifer. She's doing great. Thank you. She is watching true crime tonight, and I can get her for probably 1 or 2 lives a week. This one came up last minute because I read something tonight and it triggered a whole bunch of thoughts, and I'm like, I got to get everyone's thoughts on this. I just had to go live. But yes, she's doing great. Thank you for asking, Ricky. Hey, Lulu. Hey, Ricky. Twister, Blue Jeans and Pearls. As people are coming in, yeah, this was last minute, so probably take a while for people to realize we're talking tonight because we usually don't go live on a Tuesday. But yeah, I came home from the gym. I was just browsing like I always do on social media, and I came across something on Facebook that made me stop and think, because if it's true, it changes my entire, like I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure you have your top theories about what happened to Summer, what potentially happened to Summer. Hopefully the sound's okay, by the way. I always have to check because I don't know. So here's the thing, Ricky. Like before today, for this week, I would have told you I was 99% certain she's no longer with us. What we're going to talk about tonight has shifted my thinking a little. Okay, good. Thank you, Lulu. That maybe she could be out there somewhere. I'm still processing it, you guys. So I'm going to go through what I read. I really want your thoughts tonight. So please share your thoughts. I'm even going to put the link out. If anybody wants to come up and chat, that's fine. This is a safe space, subscribers only. we don't allow hate in the comments. So I'm going to let you guys, if you want to come up and talk too about and give your thoughts on this, but you do too. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've been contacted by a lot of people who have said they believe she's alive, that she is being held somewhere. And I just never really believed it myself because of what I thought was the more likely scenarios, whether lost, walking away, animal, if abducted, then by really bad people who might do something to her. But, and that still could be the case with this information, but I just don't know. I know I feel the same, Mike. So let me share the link. But I would recommend, actually, I'll share the link after I share what I'm thinking. Something is Henkel. Is Henkel like a German word, Robin? Something is weird. Is Henkel German? See, that's Twister. That was my number one theory. I really believed it was an accident and a cover up, and that she's no longer with us. And I'm changing. Like today, after reading this, I'm actually shifting my thinking. Hinky, I don't know. Oh, hanky. Yeah, I get it. What you're saying. Yeah, it's a slang. Three brothers. Summer Wells has three brothers. Has. So you guys, all right. I'll tell you. We'll start with what I read, and I'll tell you why I'm like weirded out tonight, because I've been going through before this live. After I read this, I've been going through my notes and looking for things with this leaning, like this. If this was the most likely possibility, then I went through all my notes again, thinking, was there anything I captured that would give more information about this scenario that I might have overlooked because I was so kind of dead set on the accident scenario, that something happened and they covered it up. So let me share this and we'll go into our discussion tonight. So, and I will say too, when I share this, people have asked me what I think of Jason Jensen, the PI who's been involved, kind of all of a sudden, kind of popping up and looking into the Summer Wells case. Can I change tabs quickly here? No, let me share this first. I'll give you my opinion of Jason first. Let me do that. Because I talked to one person who is friends with Jason, and she mentioned some of his background, and so I started looking into him too. What's his background? Who's this guy? He was on TV apparently. I mean, he's been interviewed, and he has a long history. He did start as a paralegal from this is his website. So his resume is he was a paralegal from like 1994 up until 2009. When he started, it looks like he became a field private investigator, probably did investigating work as a paralegal. A lot of times that's part of the legal work. So he probably just decided to start his own business in 2009. Now, what's important about Jason is two things that told me he's probably more legit. He's probably legit. And that is founding member of the Utah Cold Case Coalition, 2018 to present. To be a founder, I don't know much about the Cold Case Coalition, but any cold case foundation, even a state one, to be a founding member, you have to be very involved in those cases, or at least working with families. And so that tells me probably likely he's got at least the legit credentials, and he has military history, which to me automatically I give people extra points, legitimacy if they were in the military. He was in the U.S. Navy, Persian Gulf. I have not confirmed this, but I have no reason to doubt it, because most people who are guilty of stolen valor will not publicly put it on a website usually, and like publicly, you know what I mean? Yes, I haven't confirmed it, but I believe it. He's got this background. Also strikes me as a kind of military guy when I see him talking. And so I think he's legit. His post, yes, I agree. I think you mean Jason's posts. His posts are he focuses on the biggest cases. I mean, you got Kurt Cobain, one of his biggest ones, and of course now Summer Wells is probably one of the biggest missing persons cases in the world. But then again, I mean, that's how he chooses his cases. You know, he likes high profile. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, Cher is friends with him. That's nice. So it was this post that he put out today. Let me share this. To the and I don't. This was 11 hours ago, so this maybe most of you haven't seen it yet, so it might be new to you. He put this out so today to all parents of child missing persons cases. The kidnapping of Charles Lindbergh's baby Charles Jr. led to the passage of the Federal Kidnapping Act, also known as the Lindbergh Law, which made kidnapping a federal offense. Here's advice to all parents of missing children wishing for federal intervention. Collect enough information to pitch a possible abduction scenario and demand FBI involvement. For example, the Summer Wells case. 5-year-old Summer, this is the line that I'm like, it stopped me in my tracks, and I'm like, wait a second. 5-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing on June 15th, 2021, and there has been an active Amber Alert ever since. Yeah, we all know that. We all know there's been an Amber Alert ever since. This part made me do some double checking because I'm like, if this is wrong, I'm not going to comment on his post because this is one of the first posts I've noticed I can actually comment on. Like, I've been blocked from commenting for a long time, so I wouldn't debunk him on his post. I would probably make a post on our channel. He said, to qualify for an Amber Alert, which stands for America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response, there must be belief the child was abducted and is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death. To qualify for an Amber Alert, there must be belief by law enforcement the child was abducted and is in immediate danger of serious bodily injury or death. Specifically, law enforcement must confirm an abduction. I think confirm is a strong word. We're going to dive into this. I don't know if he should use maybe confirm. I think he meant the likelihood of abduction. There's no way they can confirm an abduction without arresting someone. But he said, law enforcement must confirm an abduction, believe the child is in serious danger, and have sufficient descriptive information about the child, abductor, or vehicle to aid the recovery. Very strong words. I agree. I think he might have overstated some of these because I'm gonna show you a little bit of digging I did before this live to prove or disprove what he was saying. I thought I was going to disprove it. I thought there was something he was twisting, but I was actually, I'll be honest with you, I was a little shocked by what I found. So yeah, let's get into that. That's the thing. Also, Blue Jean and Pearls. Look, I don't know about the card team, but I know Ronnie Lawson specifically told the media they had no reason to think there was an abduction. I'm sure many of you remember that interview, and he said it to several news organizations. He had no reason to suspect abduction. Card team did say that. All right. So if this is true, there's a conflict between what the card team said, what Ronnie Lawson said, and the facts. And so this is what I'm trying to get my mind around. Let's take a look at the facts. I went to the Amber Alert Department of Justice Amber Alert website to see the facts. Oh, it's okay, Eve. This was last minute, totally last minute. I don't expect you to come to every single live, especially last minute like that. Hey, I see you. Nice to see you. I love seeing people I recognize coming in. Yeah, this is a weird one tonight. I got to tell you, it's changing my whole thinking around the Summer Wells case, which I never thought would be possible. But it is. So, you guys, it's like so cut and dry. The truth here is easy to verify. What are the requirements for an Amber Alert? Well, first thing, before we do this, let's take a look at, let's just make sure there still is an active Amber Alert for Summer Wells. Active missing child alerts. We've got a endangered child alert, Taya Yona Chavez. Of course, Sebastian's Amber Alert. We've got Holland Snaps endangered, Layla's endangered, Kennedy Doyle Amber Alert, and there's still the active Summer Wells Amber Alert. So, okay, it's still active. And Summer Wells has an active Amber Alert. He didn't lie about that. He didn't twist any facts. Hey, Wendy, good to see you. So correct, he's correct. There's an active Amber Alert still. They have not stopped it. And I've heard so many people, I got to tell you, I've had people reach out to me, why did they remove Summer from the Tennessee, from the TBI site? I don't know what channel out there is making up this crap, but this right here has been here since the beginning. So I just don't know. I don't understand why people make up this stuff, but this has been here since the beginning. They've never taken it off the page. Her Amber Alert's been active since day one. When I give my opinion, I upset some people, and I'm gonna, you won't get hate in here. I mean, as long as you're not attacking anyone. This is a very open. I mean, Ricky, you've been here, right? You've been in this tribe. You know that we don't judge opinions. We just don't accept attacking people. That's all. So open up. Feel free to share your opinion. No hate in here. This is a place for sharing thoughts and ideas. So let's take a look at the requirements for an Amber Alert from the Department of Justice. Yeah, feel free. Absolutely. Opinions and theories are more than welcome here. Always welcome. And no one's going to attack you for it. There may be heated discussion, but that's always a good thing. Not too heated. Okay, guidelines for issuing Amber Alerts. Let's get into this. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what we ask of everyone. All right, guidelines for issuing Amber Alerts by the Department of Justice. Summary of Department of Justice recommended criteria. Number one, first bullet, there is a reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. The law enforcement agency believes that the child is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or harm. There is enough descriptive. I mean, this is almost word for word for what Jason put on. Kudos to Jason for pointing this out, honestly, because how much debate has there been around the abduction scenario? And he's using, this is straight up logic, you guys. This is straight up logic. This is the Department of Justice website. There's only an Amber Alert if there is a reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. Read that several times and then read it again. There is a reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. You guys, do you realize there's an Amber Alert on Summer Wells? One of the requirements is there is a reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. That means Ronnie Lawson, I don't know what the hell he was talking about. I also don't, I mean, I'm not surprised because Ronnie Lawson also said that she was seen walking down the street in one of the news interviews. So, and she wasn't. So he was either BSing to like send the public off on left field, or he really didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I don't know. I don't know why Ronnie said that, but I do know this clearly proves that there's at least a reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction occurred. And I didn't know that. I mean, did you guys know this, that an Amber Alert means they reasonably believe there's been an abduction of some kind, of some scenario? And that to me made me stop in my tracks. Hey, Cynthia. Hey, everyone. Hey, Glenn. Thanks for coming in. It really made me start rethinking all of the research that I've been doing. If it's at all abduction related, and if it's not abduction related, maybe it's a waste of time at this point. And it also makes me wonder, and this is probably going to get some people upset, if an abduction occurred, is it possible like a lot of the theories around the parents being guilty. A lot of the theories around the parents, like it kind of throws out the accident scenario. You can't have an accident and an abduction. Yeah, me either, Lulu. So it reduces the likelihood of an accident and a cover up because you can't have an abduction if she's gone. It increases, in my opinion, several scenarios. It increases the now it doesn't get the Wells off the hook theory wise or hypothesis wise, because there's a scenario where the Wells could have known or even orchestrated the abduction. So that isn't off the table, but it takes a lot of the other things the parents have been accused of being an accident or intentionally, or her dying in the car, unaliving in the car, the overheating thing that we talked about with the milk jugs. It puts that out the window. She would have been alive during an abduction, so it could have been orchestrated, could have been one of the criminals in the area, it could have been retribution for some drug thing, could have been a drug related payout like people have suggested, you know, or a retribution or a drug debt, all that kind of stuff. So in my opinion, it increases all of the abduction related stuff. I hear you, Sue, but it increases the possibility of the abduction theories, because for the Amber Alert to be still active, there has to be a reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. It's hard to get around that. It's hard to get around that. And man, there were theories I remember hearing from people about, like, animals. Animals had gotten her. The wandering off is less likely if this is true. Would they put out an Amber Alert if a child? Do you guys know, in cases where children disappear in the woods, like off their property, and they walk into the woods, can you think of a single case where they issue an Amber Alert? I can only think of an Amber Alert when, like, the 99% of the time, 99% of the time, it's one of the parents, like a shared custody thing, and one of the parents takes off. And that's like 99%. I don't know if 99, I'm exaggerating. But like the huge proportion of Amber Alerts are custody battles, and they take off. Yeah, he did push it hard. I agree. Especially with the red truck. I remember that. Yeah, it makes me really concerned. The whole thing we talked about, was it last night, our last live? It makes me much more concerned now of the scenario of trafficking, um, or a drug debt scenario. It just, sorry guys. Yep. To me, I think you have to use things like this that logically connect. Again, the fact that there's an Amber Alert and the Department of Justice clearly states there's a reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred when there's an Amber Alert, to educate your theories. And so, like, I've been going through, let me share. So, I'll give you an example of what I do. When I draw a logical connection like this between those two things, and it has to educate all of your theories, I was like going down my list and going through all my notes. And there was an interview I did, with Robin Lane. Interview being like text. I was texting her back and forth, asking her questions. And there's something she said to me that I caught tonight. Again, 2 hours before this live, I'm going through all my notes. I'm like, what does this mean? What did I miss something? And I was reading my comments to her, my questions to her, her responses, and there's something that jumped out I want to show you all. Let me get to the comments real quick. I'm sorry. A friend of them at the swimming place said she went under, jumped in. That was Hunter. Yeah. But again, yeah, that's one of the stories. And Chris, if you think about it too, when it's not, traditional abduction, you think a kid's on the side of the road, some stranger comes up, grabs the kid. I think everyone agrees that property, you'd have to have the dogs out of the way, creep up to the back door. And the only way Candace and the grandma, is that what everyone calls her, Grandis, wouldn't have known is if they didn't hear a thing on the other side of the house. And again, I don't know why the dogs were gone. They somehow got into the basement door, or she came out. And again, Candace and Grandis didn't hear it, didn't hear anything. That's the only way it could be a stranger. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that have to, and I think everyone, I've watched a lot of you all, a lot of your opinions on various lives. I think everyone kind of agrees. The stranger creeping up on the property, and when everyone says the dogs are always going crazy anytime they went up there. Like, I talked to someone who babysit their kids. Just the other day, I interviewed a girl who babysat for the Wells, and she told me those dogs were insane. Like, those dogs would attack her, run across the yard with her. And yes, I was shocked that this girl I was talking to for about a different case had babysat the Wells kids. Like, then I started grilling her about the Wells kids, or the Wells property, and all kinds of stuff. But I specifically asked about like what the dogs and the scenario at the property, and she said the dogs were always there, and the dogs were crazy. They chased her across the yard. So that tells me the dogs had to be intentionally not there. And intention there leans toward the parents or someone there removing the dogs on that day for some reason. But what I'm saying, Chris, is that I don't think it's traditional. I don't think it's the traditional abduction scenario. I think it's some contrived version of it where either it was arranged and all orchestrated, or someone who knew the schedule. This is what Jen told me the other day too. And I don't know how many of you guys have thought about this. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's just, yes. The dogs would have given away anyone who abducted her. Even the creepy neighbor, though, would have been, the dogs would have gone crazy. Where was I headed? There's this scenario of, Jen was talking to me the other day about the TikTok video. If you guys remember the TikTok video, right? They're at the swimming hole, and Candace posted this TikTok video. Now, what's the number one security risk of posting your location by posting a live video? That was a live. That was like, well, not live. I'm sorry. Not 100% true. She posted it around the time when they were there. So, but people knew on that day, because I'm sure the date was on that thing, that they were at the swimming hole. So there's also the scenario where someone knew where they were and that they were potentially headed home. So they knew kind of when they were going to get home, maybe. So, and then I'll be honest with you, there's also mulling in my head constantly is the organized, like the crazy conspiracy theory of an illegal adoption scheme with the CPS going there the day before, some scheme or conspiracy being played out where they just orchestrated getting that child off the property. I know that's wild. That's not like top theory, but that's just one of them. That's possible. I mean, maybe there's some powerful organized cabal out there who just wanted to take her away from that scenario. I don't know. But I wanted to cover something I noticed in the Robin Lane interview that I did. Robin said I could share things she said to me, and I shared this a long time ago in another live, but it's this particular comment she made that really surprised me. In this, taking this into account, that law enforcement would have to have a reasonable belief that an abduction occurred. For her to say this, it just seemed like she knew something that at the time I didn't realize she knew something like this important. I'll share this with you all. This the brakes. What does that mean? I'm not up with the trending memes and stuff, except for "Do It, Lady." Do It, Lady. If you guys don't know what that is, you missed our last live. You have to go back and figure that out. Us Gen Xers actually have a trending thing we say now. Put your DNA on that light button on the show. Thank you. Thank you, Ricky. Sorry, guys. I'm just going through comments before I get to this. And probably some people are going to like start. It's okay if you zoom in on the comments, like other creators trying to zoom in and see what she said. I already shared all of it, so it doesn't really matter. My thought from the beginning was sold. Again, that rises up in my mind with what we know with this scenario, right? That increases the abduction scenario. This, to me, is now more likely. The sold scenario, because if sold, that's considered abduction, obviously, and that would fall into the realm of what law enforcement possibly is considering. The sold scenario. And the red barrel has always bothered Jen in particular. She's told me that many times. To me, I don't know. I always am like, is that coincidence? It was sitting there, but Jen feels yes, very much so. That was intentional. So, yeah. Hey, did I see? I thought I saw Chill Billy earlier. Maybe I was thinking of the days are running together. I was in a live last night where Chill Billy was. Okay, let's get to this. So I was interviewing. Is there proof of that? Why would you say that? I don't like making claims unless there's some evidence. I haven't heard that before. I've heard stories that are unproven, but I doubt it. I doubt it. There was a half barrel at the foot of the driveway when we were there before with flowers in it. I don't know if it's still there. What was that leaning up the? There was something Jen told me the other day. Something leaning up against the house. The canoe. Do you guys remember the canoe leaning up against the door? I got to talk about this first. I'm sorry. I'll get to Robin Lane in a second. Do you guys remember the canoe? There was always like it was captured into various pictures, videos. There was a canoe, like a red canoe, leaning up against the house. Okay. And Jen was like, Ryan, you know what I noticed is in some videos, sometimes the canoe was leaning up against the door, near the door of the basement. And in other times, the canoe was not. It was down, it was somewhere else. And again, trigger warning and what's the word for it? I want to make very clear this is a theory. This is not implying anything or accusing anyone of anything. Yes, it was moved, but the thing is, now Jen, you guys know she watches tons of true crime and she catches a lot of like what do people do in different scenarios, and in the cases of child either selling children, I gotta watch my words carefully, I don't want to get banned here, selling children or making them accessible to people who are not nice for activities that are not nice, they will have signals to people outside that isn't obvious. So like put a hang a I don't know, hang a rope on the door, you know what I mean? Like something like that. And she was like, could the canoe have been a sign? Like put the canoe up when go in, like someone's there, like she's there. Take the canoe away when not. It's a disgusting thing to talk about, I know, but that's something Jen picked up on, that the canoe was like sometimes there, sometimes not. And I do know that that goes on, you guys, in these communities. People do kind of rent out their children. I've talked to people who grew up there who told me it happened to them. Some women who grew up there, and they said it happened to them, and it's terrible. But it's just something that Jen picked up on, and I wanted to point that out. Again, no accusations. I'm not saying that's the case, but that's just a weird thing she noticed. It's red. It's red, Sandy. So, and the thing is, I don't know. I haven't seen videos immediately after she was abducted, like the exact day or, the day before or after. I would like to talk to searchers, actually. Nobody was allowed up on the property except law enforcement, so nobody would know if what the position of the canoe was on that day other than law enforcement. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Exactly. That's what Jen was thinking. I got to give Jen credit. Maybe law enforcement has pictures of the place, and I'm sure they thought of this scenario. But I'm very curious. Like, was the canoe up at that time on that day, or was it somewhere else? Not that that's the case. Not that that's what happened. But the law enforcement not giving us a whole lot of information, it helps. It's difficult for us to know what they know. Yeah, Jen is a smart cookie, isn't she? She watches a lot of true crime, so I'm gonna say that's why she knows these things. Robin Lane, I asked her a question. I can't even remember what the question was because it's not important. Her answer is what's important. I was just talking about what people were saying about her. I hope you guys can see this, but when she responded to me one time, she said, "Well, that's why I'm saying the police know exactly what happened. I could explain myself in another interview, but I don't answer to them." So she was explaining to me she wasn't quite willing to do an in-person interview with me, but I think she let something slip here. Now that I'm reading it with this in light, like thinking about this scenario, I was reading through my notes, I was reading my interview with her, going through everything, you guys, and I caught that one line. Well, that's why I'm saying the police know exactly what happened. What scenario would there be? What scenarios would Robin know what the law enforcement knows? The one I can think of is she's potentially one of the people who reported something. There was a CPS visit. Was Robin the person who initiated that CPS visit? Was she the reason law enforcement was, or the state, or whoever was starting to get involved? Does she know that police, have they let it slip to her at least that they suspect some kind of abduction scenario? But just her stating the police know exactly what happened, she could just be pontificating or giving out her own theory. Oh, the police know what happened. Maybe she doesn't actually know. But that jumped out to me because if they suspect an abduction and somebody let it slip to her, maybe she knows what the police think or knows, thinks she knows what the police know. I don't know. That jumped out to me too. It's just it's weird to think about. I haven't given a whole lot of credence to abduction, you guys. Like, I just haven't. Which Robin interview? There's been a few of them. Oh, when I say Robin interview, I didn't like do a video interview with her. It was texting. I was texting her back and forth. Some of my notes, I was going through my notes as well, and just looking for things that are leaning more toward an abduction scenario, like to bring that up in the list. Sorry, I'm missing comments. Have you heard this before? Yeah, they sold I'm pretty sure, what I remember, when Dawn was in jail, they sold Candace sold the SUV. I thought it was to Kathy, actually. Her friend Kathy bought the SUV, the one who lives near Cherokee Reservoir. That's what I heard. Cherokee Reservoir was like one of the top places we were searching for a while because of that. I mean, Doesn't mean anything that she went there that long while Dawn was in jail. At this point, I don't know. Maybe. We do want to go back and check out those sinkholes, to be honest with you. I'm still curious about them. Yeah, me too, Beck. When I saw that that interview with Chris Madonna, I was like, "What are you doing?" Although I did figure out later on, I watched another interview she did, and what it sounded like is her and David Dotson had heard from the Wells that the truck had been canceled out. Because I remember there was another interview. Don was on. You guys know Don was on YouTube constantly at the time, and he had mentioned the red truck as well, and oh, they checked that out, kind of thing. So I think possibly the Wells told Robin and David that, and so that's why she was like, "Oh no, it's crossed out, it's crossed out." And then later on, like TBI was like, "No, it's not. The red truck's still a thing." I think to this day, the red truck is may not be critical to the case, but it was still something they were looking for. Um, Sorry guys, I'm going through my notes live here, so I will try to catch your comments at the same time. Yeah, yeah, David Dotson to me, I'm not gonna say he was. Some guys, this could sound weird. Some guys like kids. Some guys authentically like kids. Like, I mean, it's hard to be a guy. It's hard to be a guy who actually authentically likes kids because everyone thinks you're a creep, even if you're just authentically love kids. So like I love kids, but I'm not gonna I'll go alone to like a park and just or like at a church and start like making googly eyes at a kid. Don't do that if you're a guy. It's just not a thing. You know, be in a space with children, maybe with your wife or with other female friends. It just makes everyone feel more comfortable. It's sad that guys have to be like that, but hey, that's the world we live in. And Dotson, yeah, he would. I don't know if it was intentional. I I don't know if he was creepy or if he was just one of those guys who had no social etiquette when it comes to children, and he came across to everyone like a creep. Unfortunately, um, playing music for her after she was gone was like that's just weird, dude. It was nice sentiment, I think, but it just came across wrong. Um, why do you think TBI went? That's a good question too. And thank you for bringing that up. To me, if they believe in the abduction scenario and they have some additional evidence of maybe a person who was involved or someone mentioned to them who could have abducted or where the abduction took place, if you think about it, where did they search? They searched at the base. According now, we only know this from the Summer Wells, the family website, the family social media. We only know this from them. I'm assuming it's true that a search happened at the base of the base of the driveway. And I'm gonna bring up the map real quick for you guys. I'm laughing because 110 Ben Hill Road comes up at like top of my list. I've searched it that many times. That's kind of sad. Who's creepy? I'm stalking the Wells. I'm sorry, Don and Candace. I'm actually not stalking you. Just research, I swear. So this is Ben Hill. Can you guys see this? Okay. Ben Hill Road, Beach Creek. I've driven it way too many times to count, but here's their driveway. Okay. Driveway. And actually, Chillbilly, you're in here, right? I'm going to go down to comments. I'm sorry if I'm missing so many comments. I'm trying to focus and read. But Chillbilly, I know you know exactly where the dog trail stopped. And my understanding from one of the community searchers who was there was that it was closer to the driveway side than it was to the Beach Creek side. So somewhere around here, which I am very curious actually if you guys notice if there was an abduction scenario. Doing it here would suck. That's a lot of forest. Doing it here at the curve in the road, it's actually not so bad. It's a shorter distance. You're not taking the driveway up, but you're taking this shortcut, I guess, right up to the back side of the house. I think that's the back side of the house. That's where, no, that's where the, is that the RV? Is that that's the bus right there. So, but I believe that's where the dog came down. So, according to the post, the social media post, TBI was at the base of their driveway searching, doing something there, which is right here. So to me, if the dog trail ended there, and to me, the dogs stopping at the road, what we learned, I said this in our last live, I'll leave this up so we can kind of visualize this here, you guys. Dogs can smell on a road. If she had run onto the road, she had been dragged on the road, dogs, when they get tested on tracking, they get tested on they're supposed to go on 3 types of surfaces. And usually it's concrete, grass, and dirt. So they can track on concrete. They have no problem doing that, which tells me if the scent stopped at the road, she was lifted off her feet and put into something and taken away. Or hit, potentially, maybe, and then lifted and put into a vehicle. That's what that tells me. Now, if law enforcement, if TBI is hanging out around this whole area here doing searches and stuff, are they looking for evidence that could help them figure out who abducted her? What happened to her? Was there an accident there? Did somebody hit her? Were they I could see them potentially using technology, like the blood. I mean, blood does get washed away, but they maybe could with the blue light thing they do. Jen would laugh at me right now, probably. The blue light that says blood. Maybe they could still do that 3 years later. I don't know. But that type of technology where they can maybe sense something or pick up some piece of evidence, if they're now more certain that that's exactly where something happened. If they're at the foot of the driveway, I feel like they're more certain today that something happened at the foot of the driveway, which is where the scent dogs came down, near the foot of the driveway. It was down the road. I'm not going to say it was at the driveway, but it was down that area. And maybe law enforcement, maybe TBI is like just scanning this whole area for any trace of any kind of evidence for what happened. Maybe they got a tip that something definitely happened there. Maybe somebody told them a story about something that definitely happened there, and they're going to look for evidence. And maybe that's what the search was about. This is all speculation, you guys. I accept it's all speculation, but this is how I've been thinking lately, hearing TBI's been searching, and now this abduction scenario is much more likely. It's all kind of coming together in my head. Anyone ever mentioned folks riding dirt bikes? Yeah, I think, was it Andy? Several people have said kids did that all the time. All the time. Even back in his day when he was a kid, they did that all the time. ATVs and all that stuff. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking for. Okay. Yeah, right. It is. That turn right there, right down, not at the driveway, just down the driveway. I was looking for your comment, Billy. There we go. They would play down the driveway. They rode old Power Wheels down the driveway. I always thought, of course, the dogs would hit there. Me too. Well, again, too, I could see the dogs hitting on the driveway. I agree, because they played on that whole property. The fact that they went down a little bit down there, not quite at the driveway, tells me someone. Again, it's going to sound creepy, but if I was looking to abduct someone on this property and I'm strategizing, right? Not that I ever would, mind you guys, but I'm just saying, here's the entry route. Think like a criminal. However horrible it is to think, we're going to try to abduct someone on this property. What are we going to do? Well, I have different options here. We know there's a paved road, and the closest spot is right there. So first option, we're going to go, and hey, there's a bus to hide behind. We're going to go up here and sneak around the back of the house. You know, guys, I'm a little confused here. The back of the house, this is the back of the house, right? Like the trailer that the grandmother lived in, that's like over here, right? I can't remember. I think this is the back of the house right here. So anyway, this is one of the close routes. If you want to get onto the property, it would be this way. Let's see, what would I do? Come up Simpson and maybe no, because there's houses here. I've been here. There's a house here, there's a house here, there's too many people here. Oh, thank you, Arthur. LiDAR setting. Let's check that out. Let's try that. Yeah, but I like satellite for one thing. Yeah, I'm gonna stick to satellite. Maybe you could show me some time, Arthur, how to do that. Yeah, so I would make not Simpson. I wouldn't take Simpson Road. Well, it's way down here for one thing. There's all these houses. There's no way in. Are you going to creep down Limestone Branch? Are you going to go down here? No, thick forest. So here would be one route. From this road, I was actually joking with Jenkins the other night about how hard it is to run up this hill. To be honest with you guys, this hill right here, you can see the damn shadows. When you see shadow like this, it's steep. I plan hikes where I've like looked for when you ever see shadow, like this type of shadow, you don't want to be climbing that crap, at least not off trail. So I wouldn't I wouldn't plan to go up this side. And maybe the only other scenario I could see if you wanted to creep up on someone on this property would be to come back here and park around here and get in this way. The problem with this way is look how wide open. This is wide open. Like people are going to see you coming. And if this is where the Grandis's trailer was, that would be stupid. So the only approach, in my opinion, thinking like a criminal, like someone who would want to go on this property and abduct someone, that's the spot right there. That's the place anyone would choose, in my opinion, to abduct. So yeah, the abduction scenario has just gone way up in my head. Not stranger abduction, honestly. That to me is not still not realistic because how did they get the dogs to like not be there that day? All the crazy, everyone says there are all these crazy dogs on the property. Yeah, exactly. Yep, I agree, Joe Billy. I'm leaning more that way, you guys, especially now that I understand the whole Amber Alert. Is this cat like trying to make a cameo appearance? It's okay. You can stay. Here we go. I have a co-host. Here we go. I don't believe she disappeared from the well. You think you are one that believes she's still there. There's a lot of people believe that that there was an accident, but again, you guys like I know I seems like I'm making a big deal about it, but this is a Department of Justice website literally saying that an Amber Alert is issued if there's a suspicion, not even suspicion, man. They're like strong feeling that there's an abduction. That's Department of Justice. To ignore that statement, to ignore, oh, did I close it? To ignore that statement, you, you have to, it goes back to what I call, I've used this phrase many times, cognitive dissonance, where it gets to the point where you ignore things because you don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe this, you guys. I was 100%. I was very much against the abduction scenario, and a lot of people have their theories that they prefer to believe, but you can't when you see a piece of evidence that conflicts with what you strongly have believed for a long time, there's this very powerful psychological thing that makes us want to like downplay it. Like, oh, that doesn't really matter. But I know that what I believe is true. That's called cognitive dissonance. Like your brain does not want to switch. But something like this, and you may feel like I'm making a big deal about it, or a bigger deal about it than you think I should. But this is the Department of Justice.gov, OJP.gov. This is the Department of Justice saying that they issue an Amber Alert when there's a reasonable suspicion by law enforcement, a reasonable belief, not suspicion, a reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. Whatever your theory is around this case, whatever it is, she has an active Amber Alert, you guys. The Department of Justice makes it very clear here. This now. Someone who wants to argue about this can say, well, they say recommended criteria. So is this only recommended, or do they always go with this rule? You could argue that way. You could make that argument, but it is criteria. They have this criteria, and that just has to, in your head at least, when you're going through these theories yourself, it has to elevate the theories that are focused around abduction scenarios, because that's why they issue Amber Alerts. Unless anyone has any other opinions, any other evidence about other scenarios that they've used Amber Alerts that they don't believe there's an abduction, there could be examples out there of cases where they did. I'd love to hear them. But like I said, most of them are custody battles, and the parents take them away. An abduction occurred. That's an Amber Alert. Like most of the Amber Alerts I know of, they suspect some kind of abduction, so it makes sense. I can run the dog trail to the back of the house in less than 30 seconds. Well, there you go. Exactly. That side, that curve, that's what I'm saying to you, Billy, is that's the dog trail, and that to me would be the fastest route. I would choose that route if I wanted to sneak up there. Not that I would, because I don't want to get shot, but I'm just saying, if somebody actually wanted to creep up on there. The first time I went there, the dogs came around but wasn't barking. Really? You're one of the few people I've heard say that the dogs did not bark at them when they went up there. Like that babysitter, the girl that was babysitting, she said one of the dogs in particular, maybe it was the mama dog, like chased her around the yard like all the time. I don't remember the couple who came to stay with John and Candace. If anybody does, let me know. There was Jose was from New York, wasn't he? Or was he from another state? I thought Jose was from New York. I can't remember. There has to be changes to the Amber Alert system on both sides of the border. Ours and Canada's are much better. Is that right? Yeah, I mean, they issue them for people to keep an eye out. It might increase the odds, but it doesn't mean they're guaranteed to find these children, unfortunately. The card team said there was no abduction. Yeah, I know. Again, I don't. So did Ronnie Lawson. And you know what? I don't know how much law enforcement, what they put out publicly, what they tell people publicly, is honest. Like they can sometimes want to mislead the public. So I don't know, but you can take if you take the card team to heart what they said as truth. Absolutely, that's your right. But again, it's the criteria of an Amber Alert is a reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. And we could argue all day about which one to take more seriously, Department of Justice recommendations or the card team. We could agree to disagree, but it doesn't matter, because it just means if we disagree, then we'll just be going in different directions with our theories, which is totally fine, because nobody knows anything anyway. Nobody knows what the truth is. But everyone's going to head in a direction that they think is more likely. Wells of seems very somber, but not proactive regarding summer. Yeah. Lately they've been very active, trying to get the boy back. One of the boys back. Yeah. How old? I'm sorry. Oh, hey, Butch. How's it going? Summer was 5 when she disappeared. And I'm way back on comments. I apologize. Summer was 5 when she disappeared in 2021. She is now, well, the girl that we have a training we did with Moon this weekend with a girl who's exactly the age Summer would have been. It's a very special moment for us. We did live tracking with a girl in the area, who's exactly what Summer Wells' age would be today. Trying to catch up with comments, you guys. I'm sorry. Candace and Summer went to pick them up at the gas station. They had a friend with them, a guy. He then stayed behind. A couple went. Okay. Went to pick the couple up at a gas station. They had a friend with them. I don't remember that story. It rings a bell vaguely. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, Lisa. Good luck to Seth. Hope you can pull that off. Me too. Lulu. That's exactly what I thought until that PI made that comment tonight. And then I started looking into it, confirming it, seeing if it's actually true. Apparently, it's not the all. It doesn't just have to be a missing child. It can be endangered, right? That would be endangered. Um, but an Amber Alert is very specific. Believe there's imminent danger. Belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. And there's enough descriptive information about the victim and the abduction for law enforcement to issue the Amber Alert. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. To me, that says a whole lot. Let me go to the bottom. Yeah. That's the other thing the babysitter told me. She said those kids were wild. She said the boys in particular, they were wild, and they would run around. They would be kind of rough. They were very rough. They played rough, but she said, "Hey, Katerina," she said to me, because I asked her, did you have any suspicion of abuse of any kind when you were there? Did you see anything that made you think they could have hurt their children? And she said, no, they were just, and I'll put this nicely. She said they were just like hillbilly, like they were very hillbilly, like down in the woods, you know. She used a term I don't want to use because it's a little derogatory, but it was just worse than hillbilly. But she's like, they were just country folk, not the smartest sometimes. She didn't put it that way, but they were not the smartest, but they were not mean to their children. They were not horrible. Might have been, they might have slapped them a few times or whatever, that kind of but she said that the boys were rough. The boys were absolutely rough, and she would not be surprised to hear it could have been an accident, that kind of thing, because they were pretty rough when they played, and they could have had an accident. This was before this, you guys. I was asking about the accident because that was my theory, and she said, yeah, I mean, it could be, and she wouldn't be surprised, but no, they're very focused on getting their oldest son back. I agree. Maybe they've just let go. Maybe they've just moved on. I don't know. Yes, I do be switched. I do. Those church services are always so creepy to me because number one, they're putting shot children out there on the internet. They're live on YouTube. Like they put it out on YouTube. Jen and I were sitting one time in the parking lot because we're like, I wanted Jen to get it to we it is kind of creepy. I actually, now I'm thinking about it, it's kind of creepy. We were sitting there waiting for people to come out so Jen could sort of do the, is there anybody creepy around? And anybody coming out of church, do they feel weird to her? And uh it I was to see when the church ended. Think of the security issue here. To see when the church ended, I was watching their live service, and then they went into the whole children's thing. I'm sitting outside the church and I'm watching their live stream of the service, and all these children are live on the internet. And you guys know the rules of YouTube. Like, you're not supposed to put children on the internet just willy-nilly. Number one, you need permission from the parents. You got to be really careful when you put them on the internet, like that you don't give away their location and just all kinds of stuff like that. And they're just streaming kids every freaking week on YouTube. And I put that out there before. I put that out there publicly before, and they've, as far as I know, they keep doing it, and it really irritates me that they do that. Which mountain? You mean Chimney Top? We've been there. I think we have access to the fire tower now, if I know the right route. But if you have access to a different mountain, I'm in. Yes, they have. I've heard two youngest have been adopted. The oldest is up for adoption. And most likely, I think he probably will be. Hopefully. Sorry. This is my opinion. He needs a good home. He needs a good home after what he's been through. Just my opinion. Don't mean to offend. Yep. Anything is possible still. I'm just saying I'm leaning more toward some theory around abduction. That doesn't tie you down a whole lot, because the potential drug debt is an abduction scenario. The possible illegal adoption is an abduction scenario. It drastically reduces the accident. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one, you guys. There are some here who say it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the Department of Justice says. They still don't believe it's an abduction, and that's fair. You go in the direction you feel is best to get to the truth. And I take this seriously when it's a criteria on the Department of Justice website. I take it seriously myself, but that's just me. Do you mean thinking she can be found and saved, or are we talking about? Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to get to that point. So if there's scenarios, it depends on the scenario, the abduction scenario, right? If it was a organized, so there's a lot of, you guys, if you think about through all of the abduction scenarios, want to get her off the property because DCS came, want to get her off and hidden away with family. In that scenario, she could be alive. She could be hidden somewhere with either family or a friend far away who eventually will give her back. So that would be, like, in my opinion, the best case scenario, because she means she's still alive and actually being well taken care of. And then you've got the drug debt scenario. That was not good, because then they would have taken her in payment of something. And what do they do with children in that scenario, where there's trafficking, horrible things you don't want to think about? And somebody told me recently, and I hate to say this, I'm sorry, trigger warning, that in the case where they abduct children for that purpose, the age of 10 is usually when they don't need the children. Like, they consider them not needing the children anymore. I don't know how true this is. This is one person telling me this, that they find these children useful until about 10 years old. And that, when I heard that, to me, that's the worst case scenario, because that's pretty much this year or next year. We're getting on 10, if not this year. And I just pray every day that's not the scenario. So the drug debt, the illegal adoption. That's kind of a better scenario, because she could be alive and she could be well taken care of, possibly in another country. and we've considered that scenario quite a bit. Recently, I've gone down some major rabbit holes on that one, looking at other countries, potentially, like, I don't know. There's just in that case, it's very well hidden, very well covered up. That was Jodie Sue Brown. Jodie Sue Brown and her kids. I believe it. I believe it, and I believe it because if it can fit an accident scenario and it can also fit an abduction scenario. If she was either injured in the course of the abduction or like, had a hand over her mouth, it would have been a strangled scream, that kind of thing. It would make sense. So I believe the scream happened. I do. Yeah, it came from the property. Although, yeah, there's other things I heard about that scream. It just doesn't make sense if it's an abduction. So I don't know, you guys. I'm so confused about this. Yeah, possibly. It could be family orchestrated. Um, Don's got family in Kentucky that I don't think anybody's talked about the Kentucky family side of the family out in the middle of nowhere in Kentucky. I mean, great place to hide a kid. Of course, you got Utah, you got places across the country, Wisconsin, whatever. I mean, if it's family, like, how many people in those states are looking for this kid? I'm trying Mountain Mama. The comments are actually hard to keep up with when you're actually talking. As I'm responding, I'm like, oh no, I'm missing other comments. I'm sorry if I missed anyone. Really good thoughts tonight, and you're making me think a lot. I don't know about the motel visits. I've heard those stories. And the barrel. A lot of these things came from psychics. A lot of these came, like Donna's and others psychics have also put out theories out there that's like getting intermingled with the theories people have about the case, and it's sometimes people get confused. You know what I mean? Because some of these things people are talking about were just psychic things that came up, and then there's legitimate things that came up, and there's this whole mess of like it's like this virus of information that spreads, and people just kind of like it all gets jumbled up. People are looking for train tracks at this point, and that's only psychic information. It has nothing to do with any evidence at all. I went down a rabbit hole and found someone in Pants Face who sells Subarus in another country. I see you. That is so something I would do. That is so something I would do. Oh my gosh. And I might actually book a flight if I believe it enough. How pathetic is that, huh? Michelle has a video that Candace places herself in 3 different areas at 4:30. Is that right? So she heard no scream in all 3 places she was supposed to be. Well, we know she was at that gas station at 5:30 at least. Gas station down the road, so we can nail her down at 5:30. We can nail down who else can we nail down? I think I can nail down Fred around 6:30 or 7 because of the interview we just did, which we'll be publishing soon. Where they said they saw Fred coming up from his house. So I know he was there at 7-ish. It was starting to get dark. This is June. So he had gotten back from wherever he went. So we've got Fred there. We got Candace at 5:30 at the gas station. We got, they also mentioned seeing Don coming in from the Lone Star side, which he would have been coming from work. And he was coming from the Lone Star side. That was confusing. He must have taken the highway. So if you come into Rogersville, Ben Hill, I haven't figured this out, you guys. I haven't even edited the interview. I haven't even edited the interview yet, but they mentioned he came from the Lone Star side, not from the other side, coming from Jonesboro, coming from work. And I have not given a whole lot of thought to that. So that was the other thing. We've got Dawn at a certain time coming in. I think it was, I'm not going to give a time. check out the interview when I publish it. But we're getting more like witness accounts of where people were when, which kind of helps, but is just so many holes. There's still so many holes. Yeah, actually, that's true. In abductions, it's usually someone who knows the child very well, or at least knows the child, an acquaintance or whatever. Yep, agreed. Yeah, that whole Rose thing, man. Such a weird coincidence. Such a weird coincidence, but I don't know if it's connected. I just don't know. It could be like there's a theory that Rose came out of somewhere out of hiding and abducted Summer. Like that would fit an abduction scenario, right? It's a stretch, but yeah, maybe. St. Clair. The one I heard of was if anyone knows where Zoomers is, it's the hole in the wall after that in the direction of Eastman Park, Eastman Deer Run Park, something like that. That's the one. I'm actually thinking of taking my drone out to that area and literally flying on along the highway, just looking for hiding places where something could get tossed. We're 4 years, 5 years in at this point, so the likelihood probably not very likely, but I'm looking for hiding spots. I might also take my drone down the river and look at the islands more closely than I could with my scope. Now that I have a drone, I realized I could actually look more closely at these locations. Do you know that for a fact, Twister? They left at 3:30. I didn't know that. I never knew what time they actually left. Updated on Layla? Is there an update on Layla, or do you want an update on Layla? I actually, you guys, I was gonna go live tonight to talk about the Layla Santinello case before I saw this, and then I'm like, okay, because I'm planning on the Layla Santinello case. I'm planning on talking about people. I'm sorry. I am planning on opening the books, getting you all. I know many of you love to research, and many of you have helped us research. And I'm thinking of just doing a honestly study session. I've got a list of names of people in these drug rings. I've got the people in the drug rings from witnesses. I've got various lists of names, and I'm seriously thinking of literally going down this list, you guys, doing background checks, looking up on social media, doing it live, doing it live. Why not? Their drug circle. Why not? Let's just start digging through these backgrounds. Let's start looking into the people connected to Layla, and why not do it live? How much fun would that be? Why protect them? Maybe some of them will actually consider talking, so that we don't do that. I don't know. We'll see. Right? Why not? Let's do some research sessions on the Layla case. You guys will be shocked with some of the names, some of these names, some of these people. What's doxing? Like, at what point does it become doxing? Is it only if you give their private, like, street address? If we avoid giving street address and we only say their name, that's okay, right? And then like they're friends of them, that's okay, right? That's not doxing. Somebody help me. I want to avoid doxing. No address, no phone numbers. I won't share their address or phone numbers, but why not share friends of friends, right? And who said what to who and all that kind of stuff. Start stirring the pot a little bit. So yeah, um this was my thinking tonight. This was when I read. I don't know anyone's opinion on Jason. Do you guys like Jason Jensen? Like I said, I think he's legit. He made a really good point today. He made a really good point today about the Summer case. I was shocked. When I read it, I'm like, oh, here we go. He's trying to make a big thing about nothing. And then when I found out it was accurate, I'm like, well, that can change the thinking. So, oh, Chilly, the ex-boyfriend. Yeah, what he did after the fact makes him too suspicious. You're talking about Layla's, right? Yeah. Yes. Michael, I thought for the longest time, be careful. Yeah, who's ex-boyfriend? You're talking about Layla's ex-boyfriend, right? Chillbilly, Michael Thompson. We might start getting into this tonight. We'll get a little. See if we can get Ryan in trouble tonight. Yeah, Michael Thompson. Here's what I know. I'm not going to hold anything back. Here's what I know. I know this. Well, what I know. I haven't proven any of this. This is witness account, witness account, witness account, like several witness accounts. And I know they were in a fight. They had a fight. I know she was running from Michael. She was running from Michael. I don't know if I would say into another man's arms, but into other friends' arms. Many friends were trying to help her sort of get away, and uh, Michael, say he was aggressively trying to control, trying to keep her, and um, I'm a little split on whether he actually knows what happened or is just. I've heard from people who knew him, people who grew up with him, that he was one of those braggarts, it would be like, I'm big shit, I'm like kingpin, I'm a badass, I'm a gangsta or whatever. And a lot of it, you don't really know. Is it just like he's one of the lower rungs of these circles, and he's trying to like get on the coattails of the actual kingpin drug dealers that are actually running the show. Because from what I've heard, he's not that high up in the organization, and so but I think he wants people to believe he is, and he has been telling story upon story of what happened to Layla to different people. I've talked to one person who said, "Oh, Michael said this," and then another person it was like, "Oh, Michael said that." They're two conflicting stories. They're two conflicting locations. I think he's just out there telling stories to make himself sound like a big shit. To be honest with you, I think he just, for some reason, because he knows law enforcement. I don't think he did anything. Like, I don't think he was involved, because he wouldn't be out there telling these stories to people if he had, because he knows he'd get arrested, or he'd get tracked down by the cops. He knows he's innocent, so he's just telling these stories to sound like big shit, and he's telling a different story to everybody. He knows he's not going to get arrested. He knows the cops aren't going to come after him because he didn't do anything. He was not the one who did anything, but he's telling all these stories, and unfortunately, maybe intentionally misleading people in this case. Maybe he does know who did it. Maybe he knows who did it, and maybe he even knows where she is. I don't know. I'm sure the police have grilled him to death when he was in jail recently, and they would. I'm sure they would have gotten it out of him if he knew where she was. So Michael Thompson, I'll be honest with you, Chillbilly. I think he's my impression from what I've heard. I haven't met the guy. Maybe if I met him, I'd have a different opinion. But he sounds like a little weasel, in my opinion. Just saying. Sounds like a little weasel who sells drugs to girls and maybe takes advantage of them. I don't know. I'm just speculating. And he talks big, and he likes people to think he's big shit. That's all I have to say about Michael Thompson. Whew, got me angry. No, it was not Layla. That was a false story. I think, you know what? That came from Michael as well. Michael was supposedly investigating, and the marble slab story came from him. Turned out the cops debunked that whole thing. The woman who was at marble slab was not Layla. It was another woman. Sorry. Wait, what? You don't feel she is? Really? Robin, everything I'm hearing about Michael pisses me off, because he was an asshole boyfriend. He was an asshole to her. I'm sorry, Michael, if you claim you love her. everything I've heard, you were the meanest guy I could imagine. And maybe the stories aren't true. If stories aren't true, reach out to me. Let me know what's actually true. But I'm hearing he was a violent guy and he treated her like shit. She wanted to get away and maybe even knows what happened and isn't to his own girlfriend. Could you imagine knowing what happened to your girlfriend, knowing who did it, and not telling anyone? That's not love. That's covering your own ass. Like, that's just disgusting. It's a disgusting thing to do as a human being. So, however you shake it, yeah, I don't like him. Maybe it'll flush him out. I don't know. But everything I'm hearing, I would love to talk to him in person. Well, maybe not in person right away. I'd love to talk to him on the phone and get his point of view. But from everything I'm hearing, he's just a lowlife. And he is a really bad person. Yeah, yeah, I know. I don't know yet. So I don't know that Layla's case is related to Summer. There are drug connections between Kingsport and Rogersville, and there's people in the rings who are connected and they know each other. But that doesn't mean there's a connection in the cases. That just means like all these people know each other and they may even deal with each other. So I don't know. It could mean that there's, if it's drug related, then yeah, there could be connections between all of these cases. If there's a huge trafficking slash drug slash, interstate trafficking of children and girls, then yeah, maybe. There's no evidence of that I've seen personally, other than strong indications of a ring. There are strong indications that there is that type of activity going on around here. It's scary, you guys. It's so scary. There, to me, I'm like 90% confident that there is a highly funded, with powerful people, an organized crime ring that involves both drugs and at least young women. I don't know if it's interstate trafficking. I don't know if it's international trafficking of people, but I know that they're using drugs to control women. For what purpose, I don't really know. But it does seem organized. And from what I'm hearing from people who are in these rings, it's involves power, in some cases powerful people, like business people from town. I haven't gotten any names of business people. Don't put an X on my back. I don't know anybody who's involved, but they're telling me there's very powerful people. They won't tell me anybody who, they won't like give me names. But all the people who are in these rings that I talk to who have sobered up and they've gotten out are hinting and telling me it's a ring. It's a powerful ring. Some police potentially are paid out and they're protecting people. And it's scary. It's scary to live around here and know that this whole situation is going on, to be honest with you. What he did after she went missing. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. The messages saying, I'm going to cut you to pieces to the family to try to get money. Like, how disgusting of a human being can you possibly? He's not even a human being. To do something like that is not even human. I'll be careful, Robin. I know you have been very good about warning me of talking about certain people and certain groups. I will try to be careful. I'm just angry. I'm angry about how long it's taken in Layla's case, and these people are just like in hiding and being chicken shit. And this poor girl, I'm sitting there every single search when I see Layla's mother in a field trying to hold it together, and it's just tearing me apart. And even Opie, who's not her natural born father, and I'm seeing him tearing up, and I don't even care about my own safety anymore. I just want answers for them. I just want answers for these people. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this whole thing. It needs to end. It needs to end, and she needs to come home. Honestly, I'll do whatever it takes. I don't care. He knows that he will not be alive anymore, just like Layla. Yeah. Do you see the video of the blonde woman's neighbor who took in a woman and a young girl who said was her daughter but had no birth certificate? No, I didn't see that. Although you just reminded me of something. Let me scroll down. I want to make sure I don't miss any other comments. Okay, the child schools. Oh wow. Okay. Oh no, the house cam thing. No, no. That was another. Hey, this girl looks like Summer. It wasn't Summer. It was not Summer. It was just like that whole guy in what was his name? Um, he said the trailer next to him had Summer. The cop showed up and it was not Summer. There's a lot of Summer sightings even to this day. It's crazy. Um, Layla Holland, Summer. Well, the cases are very different. Summer just disappeared. Summer just. Thank you, ICU. Yes, Changeo. That was the other one where he said these people in this trailer had Summer, and the cop showed up, and they're like, "No, it's not Summer." And he's like, it just created all this drama. But anyway, Summer just disappeared. Summer, yes, nobody saw a thing. It's just all of a sudden she's gone. Layla and Holland, it's a different story. There are witnesses. There are people who saw what happened to Holland. People saw her get beaten by Stephen Linkus. That's out there already. So I can say his name, Stephen Linkus. Beat the crap out of her almost to death. And then nobody knows what happened. Some people I'm sure know. I know that Trisha, the family member of Jennifer and Layla, she was on the property, but according to Jennifer, she's in a wheelchair, so it's questionable what she witnessed. She has been, according to Jennifer, cooperating with police, giving information about everything she knows about Holland and Steve Linkus, I guess. But that's Holland's case, and I've heard crazy stories about Holland. I've heard crazy stories about what they did to her, to hide her, to get rid of her body, and it's all from people who have been investigating, and I don't know how true it is. But there's Holland's case is horrible because it's so much unknown. Layla's is a different story because you've got you've got you have witnesses at the hotel who said she was looking for a Michael. You have and there are witnesses who put her at West Side after that. Supposedly an OD happened, and this is blending in somewhat with the psychic that I brought to West Side because yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I did read Heather's, but I didn't really. I don't. I think that's that is the house cam scenario that I remember being not true. It was not Summer, so I did read them. Well, I might have missed your other one. Yeah, those are the two. I'm pretty sure that wasn't Summer. Sorry. Um, Layla. So it was AmeriCorps. She was looking for Michael, and there were witnesses who put her at West Side and a drug overdose. What they did at that point gets into the realm of all I have is the local psychic we brought with me. Uh, Man, you guys know I don't take psychics lightly. I don't follow a lot of the readings. I don't follow up with a lot of the readings. Yes, Jen's feelings. This particular psychic, I met this woman at her house, was talking about a different situation, and I literally experienced things happen in her house. And then she started, I don't know, you guys, she started describing things to me that came true. The lights flickered in her house while we were talking. And so I asked her, I'm like, do you have any weird abilities? Do you have special abilities? She told me, she's like, yeah, I don't tell people. I just, especially around here, I don't tell people. So Shelly is the one I brought to the West Side, and I had her sit there, and she described what she saw happen at West Side with the people that were there, exactly what happened to Layla, the truck that was there, and then I didn't think anything of it. I posted that video. I published that video. And then apparently someone who was there messaged someone I know on the uh, search team, I think I could say that, and was shocked. She was freaking out because this psychic who we brought there and was describing what happened, described things. She's like, how the hell did the psychic know? How the hell did Ryan's psychic know that stuff? And that to me was like, holy crap. Like I wasn't taking it that too seriously because I had no proof that what Shelley was saying was true. But once that happened, someone who was there, an actual witness, freaked out because she described it almost perfectly and it confirmed to me everything Shelley said was true. That to me blew my mind. And that told me that Shelley's description potentially is what happened at West Side. Take it for what it's worth. I know a lot of you are like, yeah, Ryan, woo-woo stuff. Don't believe any psychics. I get that. I understand that. I get it. But in this case, Shelley is just, can't explain it. She was right. She was right. A witness there confirmed it. So we have very good confidence that she OD'd at West Side and they took her from West Side to somewhere. This is Layla I'm talking about. We believe because of the involvement of Ringo, the character Ringo, Jeremy Ring, who lived on the Bloomingdale property that we had several videos on that we searched. Somehow, both of these cases, one or both of these cases, ended up gravitating toward him and toward his property. And we believe that one or both of these girls were on that property. If you guys watch those videos, the Jeremy Ring, I didn't call it that. I called it the abandoned Kingsport property, I think. And you'll see if you watch those videos that I published, especially the dog search one with Sam, search dog one, you'll see the hole. And I have several videos of the same thing. You can see the hole several times. There's a hole in the corner of this leaning structure. And there's also a hole where they look to be like a camper. And then I took Jen there afterwards and she walked along that same area and she's like, both Shelley, I I tried so hard on that property, you guys. I brought Sam, a certified search dog. I brought Shelley, our local psychic. I brought Jen. All of them said Layla and Holland were on that property. At some point, they were there, and they're not anymore. And then the rumors we were hearing about movement on and off the property, people moving the trailer that was on the property. They quickly, when Ringo passed away, there was all this movement. They were moving crap off the property. They were moving the camper that was there. People were like racing to just wipe out everything. I think they removed a whole bunch of evidence. I think Layla and or Holland was moved several times, and very recently, especially in this case, after Ringo passed, I think they moved her body again. I think it's fresh wherever she is. And all we need is a location, especially if it's fresh. We just need a location and get search dogs on it. And I'm telling you, we could find one or both. I really feel confident about that. Well, here's the thing, Robin. So Sam's dog, I have full faith in because I've seen that dog at the seminar nail HRD 3 times in a field. And that dog ran through the holes. And I asked Sam, I'm like, if there was something in there that had remains, wouldn't your dog have picked up on it? She said, usually yes. If it's a container that leaks, if it's a body bag, if it's something that even a little bit of we call it zombie juice in the search dog world. It's kind of gross. But anything that would drip in the soil, yes. If it was a sealed container, all bets are off. Because if it's sealed, all you've got is gases. Even gases wouldn't come out. So they potentially could have had it in a sealed cooler, like a really tightly sealed cooler, like an airtight cooler. It wouldn't have leaked anything. And that's the only case where a dog wouldn't have sent it, unfortunately. If it's gone, like they would have taken it out. I'm saying that because dogs can actually scent in places you wouldn't even believe. If it was still there, a dog would scent it. Because of the gases immediately escaping through the cracks of it, they would have scented it, but it was all gone. Like the hole was empty. The hole was just completely gone. I meant to say hi, Another Realm. I'm sorry. Thank you. Sorry. We're just wrapped up in these cases, and it's just there's so much going on in Layla's case. There's so many characters. And I think they're so tightly connected. Layla and Hollins are so tightly connected that a lot of these players are just together. Like they know each other. They're all the same ring of people. I've heard of Oh man, I've heard so many stories, you guys. Yeah, I know. It is gross. I'm sorry. It is decomp. It is decomp. We call it zombie juice. It's illegal to have human, unfortunately. Actually, I don't know if Tennessee it is. We have scent. So they sell this scent online that totally supposedly mimics it perfectly. And you're kind of tied to doing that until you can legitimately get human remains. It's kind of gross to train a dog on HRD, you guys. There's a lot of rules though you have to follow. So yes, he did and knows exactly what happened. Who are you talking about? I'm sorry, I missed the first part. Are you talking about Michael? Would the dog notice scent even after body is removed? Yes, if it's not any. If it was like if they put remains in the ground, decomposition still happens. So there's still decomposition constantly happening, even if it's just a little bit that gets into the soil. And yes, the dog will absolutely scent in a place a body has been. Although Butch has told me there's debate as far as how long, and there's a whole bunch of science behind it that I don't understand at all. I'm going to pretend I do. Butch could answer those questions a lot better than I could. Butch, man. So yeah, okay. So yes, Michael did, and he knows exactly what. You think Michael knows exactly what happened to her? No one will believe it, but he knows in his brother because his brother's a drug dealer. So if he knows what happened to her, then why doesn't he just tell someone where she is? That's what I don't get. What does he have to? Is he trying to protect someone? Trying to protect his brother? Is his brother involved? Did his brother do it? Like, there's no reason for him to protect anyone unless he is involved, unless he has some guilt. If he has no guilt, there's no reason he shouldn't turn up or turn in to anybody where she is right now, if he knows what happened. Or maybe he knows what happened and he has no clue where they put her. In that case, then fine. But there's no storage other person could be. Dude, if you Kingsport's crazy. If you look at the map, look at I'll give you an example, Wadlow Gap. Follow that road, and all of a sudden things get really isolated as you go through the gap in the mountain into Virginia. And the problem is, if they're in a hurry to get her out of Tennessee and into Virginia, cross state lines for whatever reason, there's all of these gaps in the mountains. There's isolated areas. It's so easy. It's so crazy. It's so easy to get rid of evidence in this area. Near Bloomingdale, where this property is I'm talking about, you've got Wadlow Gap, you've got Carter's Valley, which is a huge, vast amount of land. And guessing where Layla is nearly impossible without some kind of information, at least a clue of some kind. How quick from death to container does it take for scent to be detected? I'm not sure what you mean. Because it's all about gases. So the container, if it's not airtight and it's in the ground, you guys, it's crazy because even like a concrete container in the ground, it allows enough gases to escape that a dog can actually detect it. 6 feet down, it's insane, even underwater. So underwater, the gases bubble all the way up to the surface, and dogs can detect that too. It's like blows my mind. The technology, yeah, the dog nose technology. Because he will not be alive anymore. Y'all are talking about blood judges. But if Michael really knew, he could anonymously talk to someone. Nobody has to know. Nobody would have to know. I mean, there's like at least 4 people we know were, or we suspect were involved in the whole when that incident happened. Any one of them talked, the other 3 wouldn't even know. They would suspect the other 3, but none of them would be able to prove it. You know what I mean? And then we could discover her, and someone could discover her. Hopefully, TBI. Hey, Andy, thanks for coming in. Cuz, how's it going, cuz? I'm just gonna play it up, you guys. Apparently, Andy and I are cousins. So, how's it going, cuz? Uh, I, you have family in Northern Maine by any chance? The rumors about us being cousins are going around again. Going around again. And I'm pretty sure Bernard, there are Bernards up in Maine, I think, but they're they're Bouchards actually, not Bernard. There are no Bernards. Maybe there are a few, but man, this YouTube streets are so stupid. I'm sorry, you guys. YouTube streets are insane. Some killers do like to keep secrets. I don't know why there are killers that will keep secrets. I mean, yeah. They're killers. They're not. Half of them are not human being thinking, but I would think someone who is a boyfriend of this girl would care enough to want to have resolution in the case. Even if he's too chicken shit, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, maybe he's trying to protect himself, doesn't care about the family, doesn't care about the little girl of Layla's who has no idea where her mom is. Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he is just self-centered and only thinks about himself. Could be. Really enjoy your lives. I've noticed some renewed interest on different channels on mainly summer. Yeah, I love seeing more about Layla and Holland on other channels. I love the fact that Michelle After Dark, Michelle's covered these cases. Love that about her channel. She does focus on Tennessee cases. Yep, they do. And yes, he is, Glenn. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Stepped on decomp in the case here in my town when I came home. Oh, yeah. We have to seal our scent in little containers and then we put them inside another container. Or Moon would be like, "What's going on?" And I hide it in my office so she doesn't know where it is. Oh, cool. If it's Northern Maine, we got to talk because we're a tight community up there. Very few families, and we all know each other. You're probably talking Southern or Central Maine, which is where most of the population is. Yep, I do appreciate you all. Hey, Jankies. Thanks for coming into my live tonight. I have no bananas here for you. I'm sorry, Jankies. Last night, she had someone come into her live, you guys. It was horrible. And they didn't come into her live. They came into her back room, and they were performing interpretive art, kind of, with their human body kind of thing. And yeah, so she was watching that, going, "What's going on here? Why is this man doing this in my back room?" And she didn't turn it off. I'm like, "Jenkies, turn it off. If somebody's doing that in front of you on camera, turn it off." And she didn't. And she goes, "Oh, it's all over." Her channel's crazy, you guys. Jenkies is just, she likes to have fun. She covers these cases. It's mostly about having fun at her channel. I go there just to like actually forget about this stuff and just let off some steam, forget about things, because this stuff is crazy. As you can see, there's so much around these cases. There's a lot of scary stuff around these cases, and it's hard. It's hard to think about this all the time. Sometimes you just want to unwind. Good night, Colorado Mountain Mama. Thank you. I see you. No, I wasn't sharing, was I? Okay. So the Layla case, yeah, it's been, you guys, it's been crazy because it really started recently learning more about Michael Thompson and all the different stories. And then Michael, I'm just going to put the name out there because he's suspect number one, and he knows he's suspect number one. The biggest accused, how do I phrase this? The most accused person in that case is Michael West, otherwise known as Nation. That's a street name. And and this guy has been accused by the police. He's suspect number one. He knows he is. I think right now he's facing drug charges or some other charges, so he's facing jail time as it is. And um, I think everyone and their mother believes that Michael West is guilty. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I think it's too easy of a solution. I think that he's not the greatest guy in the world. I mean, if you look at his Facebook account, this dude has a big swastika right on his forehead. He covers it up most of the time with a bandana, but he's had a rough past. He's an older guy now, and he's a drug dealer as far as I know. Um, and he doesn't, you just look at his Facebook page, you guys. He's not exactly an upstanding citizen in the community. However, however, we don't we have never judged people based on their past. I know people who did did drugs in their younger days. I know people who dealt different things. I don't know personally anyone who's dealt serious drugs, but like pot or whatever. We don't judge people, especially if they turn the page and they become a better person and they turn the life around. Then that past is the past, and they're doing the right thing moving forward. And there's something that doesn't line up in this case. Like Michael West as a suspect in this case seems too easy because there's the whole story about she was running around the AmeriCorps yelling out Michael. Like there's a witness who said she was yelling out Michael. To me, that's like too perfect. Too perfect. Like who was this witness? And it doesn't sit right with me. Usually you don't get something that lined up perfectly. And then you've got Stephen Linkus, who's involved in the Hall-In case, and then you've got Jeremy Ringo, and all of these circles are all connected, and all they're pointing at right now is Michael West. Everyone's pointing at Michael West. And I'm like, I don't know. Things aren't 100% lining up for me. Did Michael West do anything? Is he involved? Did he know Layla? I don't know. I don't know if he's involved. I just know that sometimes when the stories line up all in one direction only, and you have other characters who are potentially involved, who are bad guys who are at these locations and nobody's mentioning them. They're only mentioning this one guy. That to me feels like, yeah, I agree too. It is a very common name. It could have been any Michael. It could have been her boyfriend. Could have been anyone. Um, I think there's more to the story. I think Michael West, it's too easy of an answer. I think people are pushing that story. I think people are pushing that narrative. And I don't know that it's just a gut feeling, you guys. I feel like there are other people who are actually people higher up. I think there are people higher up who are involved in this with Layla and Hall-In, and I don't think it's as easy as a low. Not to say he's nobody, but he's a low level drug dealer. And from what I've heard about his personality from people who know him, to think that he would, if a person OD'd in his presence, that he would just let them go and not do anything and get rid of them. Stories aren't lining up, you guys. Stories aren't lining up. Yeah, hi Courtney. First two things. Yes, thank you. Please do. Please do hit the like and subscribe, please. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, as you can see, we get into a whole bunch of stuff. I could go on forever about the stuff we've been covering in the various cases. I do get frustrated. I'm sorry if I come across as angry sometimes, but some of these cases are really emotional for me. I know the families now. Like when you get to know the families, it becomes even more emotional, and I do get angry. I do get angry. Um, and this particular case is so convoluted with Layla Santinello. It's so convoluted with so many characters. No, I'm sorry, Jenkins. I'm sorry, everyone. But I'm sorry to the family, especially. So sorry to the family to say this, but in my opinion, I just the people involved are so horrible, so nasty. The stuff they do to people that I just I think bad things were done to both of them. Very bad things were done to both of these girls. I think very bad things, and not just Layla and Holland, you guys. There are other girls, and I hope local teenage girls, however weird that sounds, are what might watch this. Or if you're a mother of a teenage girl who lives in Kingsport and there's any sign they're getting involved in drugs in this area, please play this one segment to them. That covering these cases has made me realize that there is a targeted organization. There's an organization that is targeting young women in Kingsport and Johnson City, and they are using these women for many disgusting things by drugging them up, making them completely unable to protect themselves, and they're just being used. They're being used and abused by these people. You guys, it's like it's an organized thing. It's disgusting and it's ongoing. And more young girls from Kingsport and Johnson City get sucked into this drug community. They start getting into drugs, thinking it's like just going to be a party scene and fun, and they're going to hang out. And then they get sucked into this thing that becomes the most abusive, disgusting scenario and situation they can find themselves in. And then they can't get out. And then they can't get out because they're either scared of the people involved or they're just too addicted. And thank God, Wicked Wings. Thank God you're a survivor. I have talked to other women who live around here who are also survivors, and they've told me stories about law enforcement knowing about their story and doing nothing. We have the Sean Williams situation with all of those women who were telling their story, and nobody would do anything until a federal investigator who happened to be female. I don't, you know what I mean? Like she started pushing, and finally people listened. And it's like, you guys, I've never seen anything like this in my life. What I'm The tip of the iceberg that we're kind of seeing here is it's just insane. And I feel for these women who are getting sucked into this whole world. The especially the young women, the teenagers, and they just it's like they don't know any better. They're naive. They think they're just gonna party. They're gonna hang out with these guys who seem cool, I guess. And the next thing you know, they're in a trap house in the basement. You got guys pulling up in a van, coming to pick them up and bring them away. Like it's that scary. It's that bad. It's that bad. I agree. I agree. I if they are alive, like the trauma they've experienced all these years, I can't even imagine. And sadly, from the stories we're hearing, that they're just not. They're somewhere. I think they're somewhere in Kingsport. I think they're somewhere in Kingsport, in a remote area in the mountains, maybe Virginia, and they just need to be found. They just need to be found. I wish I could do more. I just wish that we could be capable of more for these families. But all we can do is just keep promoting their stories and hopefully maybe getting a tip and bringing in actual cadaver dogs and maybe someday finding them or sending a tip to TBI that we get if we can. Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry. Hey, Lake 17, good to see you. Thank you. Okay. Oh wow. It's holy cow. It's been 2 hours, you guys. I wasn't expecting to go live this long tonight. I just got sucked into. You guys can keep me going on these cases. All you have to do is ask a question, and I will talk for another hour. And I do sometimes probably say more than I should. I vented a little bit on on the Michael, which maybe my story would change if I talked to him myself. But Michael West, on the other hand, there's some kind of weird crap going on there that I don't get. There's more to that story, and there's more people involved. And I think the police are just hyper focused on that guy because he's an easy target, in my opinion. But I can keep digging, talking to people. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I know, but the thing is, it's like they won't talk to police. They won't talk to law enforcement. But there's a way to get her found without having to get in trouble or to draw attention to themselves. You know what I mean? The who Forget about the drama, forget about the people that want to hurt them. There are people privately who will take dogs and go just get the body, and then they don't have to worry about anybody knowing. You know what I mean? Like that's an option. That is an option to at least get answers for Jennifer and Opie and George. Yeah. Good. Yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that. And to all the women who have had to go through that, especially around here, it's sad. Thank you, Robin. Exactly. Even TBI allows anonymous tips, you know? So, okay, I'm gonna call it a night, you guys. I appreciate you all for coming in here tonight. We have the interview coming up next week. We've got a fun search tomorrow with that local Rogersville girl, who helped us train Moon. She was the one who is Summer's age. She was Summer's age when Summer went missing, and she is as old as Summer would be today. And it was very special for us to have that experience with her, with this local family. She helped us do a live tracking session with Moon. So that's tomorrow. We've got a hike. I think the hike might come up next in Linville Falls. And then I've got the interview with the family. We've got so much going on, you guys. And we've got more searches coming. So we'll keep talking. Yeah. Uh, that's good. That's great. It's good to be needed, to be able to help families in any way you can. So yeah, we've got some searches planned as well, a lot coming up. But if any of you guys are doing research in any of these cases, if you want to reach out to me and either talk through it, give me tips. I am thankfully still able to answer people who message me. I don't know how long it's going to last, but for now I'm able to, and it's fantastic. Oh, Robin, you're so late. I'm sorry. We're just closing out. If any of you are able to help me with your own research, you want to give me your thoughts, I do respond to messages. Still, I'm keeping up with things, trying my best. I love it when people who are researching send me things and want to go back and forth with thoughts, especially if you've interviewed people, especially if you know people who are involved, or people who are connected. Like there are people who just know families near Ben Hill Road, and they're like, "Hey, I know this family. Do you want to talk to them?" Hell yeah! Like that type of thing. If you're local and you just know people who you think we might want to talk to or listen to, or if you are that person, we love talking to locals. We love talking to researchers. Please reach out. I will do my best to communicate with everyone who reaches out to me. I love talking to you all. I love our tribe. You guys are fantastic. But for now, I am going to close out. I've actually got some video editing to do. So appreciate you all coming in tonight. Thank you for all the amazing comments and interactivity. for lack of a better word. Appreciate you all. Love you all. Thank you. And have a great night.